In the wake of the slaughter of 17 students and teachers and the wounding of 14 others in Parkland, Florida, Wayne LaPierre, the executive director of the NRA, gave a speech to the attendees of the CPAC conference. This is the association that used to be the home for conservatives, but now is primarily composed of hair-on-fire righties. In his speech, he equated gun ownership with God, claimed that having guns is the most important of our rights, and reasserted the official NRA certainty that the only thing that stops a bad guy with a gun is a good guy with a gun, so let's arm kindergarten teachers and have shootouts in the hallways. Here's what you need to know. 1. Nearly every fact that LaPierre stated is untrue. 2. His opinions are based on a false and intentionally misleading interpretation of the Second Amendment. It was and is promulgated by the NRA in order to spike gun sales for the firearms industry. More on that in a future post. 3. LaPierre's job is to stoke righty fervor, so he gave a red meat speech to a hall of red meat eaters. That explains his tone. These red meat eaters, though, they don't represent American values, as 94% of Americans want universal background checks. That means for all transfers of ownership of all firearms. That includes when Grandpa gives his old hunting rifle to his grandson. Nearly all Americans, including the overwhelming majority of NRA members, want gun ownership prohibited for all convicted violent felons, mentally disturbed people, those on the terror watch list, domestic violence perps and the like. 74% of Americans want assault weapons and high-capacity magazines banned, and nobody outside the NRA thinks a gun battle in the school hallway is a good idea. Go ahead and watch LaPierre. There's a link in the written post. Again, it's his job to stoke gun fervor with high volume, and he's good at that. Just get that he and those like him are not just allowing, but are indirectly inviting more kids to get killed in our schools, more movie and concert attendees to be mowed down, and more church, synagogue, and mosque goers to be murdered. I'll say it again. A vote for an NRA-backed candidate is a vote for dead children. Vote in your primary and in the general election on November 8th. First, check to see which candidates have taken money from the NRA. There's a link in to a list in the written post. And vote against these people. This is another chapter in the Big Money Controls Congress and You Don't Count story of the destruction of our democracy. You can shut down that story and you can save our kids. Vote. I'm Jack Altshuler.